please welcome the 2006 Emerald Award winners. Alisha Thomas, Associate Director of Sensory Science, Kraft Foods. Dr. Rube Williams, Technical Staff Member, Los Alamos National Lab, Department of Energy. Regina Stewart, Iger Research Fellow, the University of Tennessee. Jonathan Abraham, Student Trainee, National Institute of Health. Dr. Robert Sheppard, Executive Director, the Science and Engineering Alliance, Lawrence Livermore National Library. Dr. Sean Blanton, Professor of Electrical and Computer Engineering, Carnegie Mellon University. Dr. Don Wilson, Dean, School of Medicine, University of Maryland. Tamara Combs Turner, Vice President of Professional Development, Blacks at Microsoft, Microsoft Corporation. Dr. Wayne Greaves, Senior Director, Clinical Research, Schering-Plough Corporation. Dr. Jack Roberts, Research Professor, Johns Hopkins University, Applied Physics Laboratory. Dr. Heron Wu, Senior Director, Antibody Discovery, Metamune Incorporation. Dr. Venkatesh Krishnan, Research Advisor, Musculoskeletal, Eli Lilly and Company. Michael J. Smith, Director, Edgewood R&D Operations, ITT Industries. Dr. John Abraham, Staff Engineer, Pacific Northwest National Laboratories. Dr. Arthur Davis, Laboratory Director, Pathobiology Laboratory, U.S. Department of Architecture. National Veterinary Services Laboratory. Dr. Sharon Haney. Dr. Sharon Haney, Principal Investigator, Biochemical Sciences and Engineering. Sylvia King, Senior Principal Scientist, McCormick and Company Incorporation. Dr. Justin Baba, R&D Staff, Oak Ridge National Laboratory. Dr. Malika Jeffries L., Assistant Professor of Chemistry, Iowa State University. Dr. Jonathan Ransom, Branch Head, NASA Langley Research Center. Dr. Ashok Kumar, Program Manager, Officer of Technical Directors, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Dr. Wendy Reed Williams, Director, Research Education, the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. Dr. Joanne Killinger, Senior Vice President, Drug Safety and Metabolism, Wyatt Research. And Dr. Abhijit Mahalanobos, Lockheed Martin Fellow, Lockheed Martin. Ladies and gentlemen, our 2006 Emerald Honors recipients. In addition to these honorees, Career Communications Group also honors 8 people who received special recognition awards. These awards were presented yesterday at the Trailblazers Award Luncheon. We would like to introduce you to them at this time. Will the following Emerald Honors Recognition Awards recipients please make their way up to our stage? Famindra Jani, Senior Principal, Scientist Bashalom. Dr. Suyanto Wijaya, Research Associate, Corning. Joanne Edlow, Director, Quality Systems, Dave Bering. Dr. Alfonso Jordan, Senior Scientist, Johnson & Johnson Pharmaceutical Research and Development. Dr. Kilu, Project Manager, GE Global Research. Dr. Jorge Boaz, Senior Director, International Product Development, The Hershey Company. Dr. Ruth Chang, Research Computer Scientist, U.S. Army Corps and Engineer Research and Development Center. And Dr. Daphne Mobley, Vice President, Corporate Diversity, Wyeth Research. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2006 Emerald Honors Special Recognition Award honorees. In just a while, we will be introducing you to each of the Emerald Honored Award recipients. It's now time to begin honoring the Emerald Honored recipients. And to begin our program, please welcome the Chief Operating Officer of Career Communications Group, Ken Miller.
Not only should the results of science be for everyone, the opportunities in science should also be for everyone. As we honor minorities in research and science this week, we are aware that many wouldn't be here if some people had not made the effort to level the playing field and provide opportunities where opportunities may not have been so available for minorities or women. Our first honoree is a person who helped to level the playing field for an enlightened company that realized ideas, concepts, and research discoveries are not contingent on the color of a person's skin, his or her nationality, or first language. You won't find affirmative action in her job title. In fact, as a scientist with Kraft, the recipient of the Emerald Affirmative Action Award has had her hands on Kraft products and American taste buds for the past 30 years. Along the way, she was responsible for reducing the calories in Breyer's ice cream and ensuring no loss of flavor, or customers for Breyer's free. In addition, she and the more than 50 professionals and/or staff she manages ensure the shelf life and sensory quality of Kraft's array of worldwide products. Indeed, managing 50 staff members would appear to be enough responsibility, but she knows firsthand what being disadvantaged looks like. When she began working on her degree in biology at Purdue, there were 20 African Americans in the School of Science, and when she graduated, there were only 3. She joined Kraft Foods Research Division in 1976 as one of a handful of black scientists and took time for her to learn to navigate the hidden rules that permeate corporate life and make it difficult for minorities to succeed. So she made it her mission to change. She wanted to change the environment for those blacks who followed her. She developed, along with junior Americans at Kraft, a senior leader champion program for African Americans and all people of color, which is now at 7 Kraft research facilities worldwide. The program pairs minority employees with senior managers who are then responsible for their protégés' career development, and their own performance is measured by their protégés' success. On a broader level, she pushed for the creation of a management forum where issues affecting minorities within the 2,000-member research operation could be addressed. So it is with honor that I am able to present the Emerald Award for Affirmative Action to Alisha Thomas.
I would like to extend my sincere congratulations to the other honorees tonight. Your presence here is a testament to your individual accomplishments and your impact on others. I am most certainly honored to be standing here tonight, but more importantly, humbled by the notion that I am being honored for the Affirmative Action Award, basically for following my convictions and living up to my familial ideals. I would be remiss without thanking my mother, Dorothy Wilson, and my daughters, Erica, Erin, and Danielle, who are here with me tonight, as no success is without the support of family. To my manager, Todd Abraham, and my informal mentor, John Gregg, for always supporting me. Moreover, to my colleagues, who are here also, Lael, Tracy, Orlando, Anna Patricia, and Malua, who have granted me the privilege to lead them, and most importantly, to learn from them. I thank you. Last but not least, Emily Allen, my die-hard HR representative, for making this evening so very special. I will close by saying, I cannot rest at this juncture tonight, but must vow to utilize this accolade as a catalyst for continued work to assure all peoples realize their value and that all people's value is recognized, nurtured, and developed. Thank you.
Please welcome our next presenter, the Office Leader of Los Alamos National Laboratory, Washington, D.C. office, David Lyons.
In addition to looking at the accomplishments our honorees perform for their employers, CCG also examined what they did for their communities. The recipient of the Emerald's Honors Award for Community Service is a busy man. As a staff member with the Nuclear Systems Design and Risk Analysis Group at the Los Alamos National Laboratory, our recipient spent most of his days researching advanced nuclear reactor designs and microscale thermal physics. He's one of the nation's foremost designers of fission reactors, essential components in today's nuclear navy, and was tapped to head the installation of radiation monitoring systems to track special nuclear materials in Russia and other international locations. If that weren't enough, he is also a visiting professor of nuclear engineering at his alma mater, Texas A&M University, and has spent more than 27 hours in weightlessness conducting near-zero microgravity experiments for the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. But he wanted more. Tutoring is informal, and its benefits limited to a few. So he has taken a 3-year leave of absence to develop the JET Learning Laboratory in Houston, a special program that has taught math and science to some 800 school children. JET, which functions like the Sylvan Learning Centers, is an after-school enrichment program primarily serving minority students in Houston's public schools. The program, now in its 3rd year, serves kids from 3rd through 12th grade, as well as students from local colleges and universities. It is an honor to present the Emerald Honor Award to Dr. Rube Williams.
Good evening, everyone. I had a wonderful time meeting and mingling with so many people. I'm grateful and extremely honored for the acknowledgement embodied by the Emerald Honors Award and to be part of a ceremony that honors and celebrates so many distinguished scientists, engineers, and professionals. Right off the top, I'd like to extend my thanks for magnificent love, support, and collaboration to my wife of 22 years, Sherry, and also to my daughter for making sure we never forget the definition of words like incessant, unpredictable, and indeed magnificent. Thanks to Los Alamos National Laboratory, my colleagues, Tara, Bev, Mr. Ping Lee, Mr. David, for nominating me for this award, even though my energies and attentions now are 100% with JET Learning Laboratory. JET is born out of my love for science, for one of the most important vanguards of human endeavor, as it spans the gap between now and tomorrow. At this point, JLL has educated over 2,000 young people in mathematics and science and is expanding. Our mission is to include, to achieve, and to exceed inside of science, to the benefit of science, and to launch via those that love science tomorrow's ideas, even before such ideas are conceived or inspired. Thank you.
Please welcome our next presenter, the director of the NASA Glenn Research Center, Dr. Woodrow Whitlow.
It is my honor to introduce you to the two recipients of the Emerald Award for Student Leadership. These are the people who prove that the promise of science is for everyone. Our first hails from New York City, where his parents immigrated from Haiti by way of Canada. Growing up Haitian in Queens, he was keenly aware of the social stigmatization caused by infectious diseases such as HIV. He noticed that these infections had a far greater impact on populations in less developed countries than they did in North America and on low-income communities within the United States. Through science, he hopes to change that. He attended Harvard on New York Times and National Institutes of Health scholarships, and he soon began researching two of the world's most lethal viruses. His main interest in HIV and Ebola have led him to the conclusion that if you can prevent these viruses from entering the cell, you can stop them before they cause any harm. So as a junior at Harvard, he began focusing on ways to prevent viruses from entering the cell. This was a departure from the prevailing approach, which targeted infected cells and sought to disrupt or reduce the virus's ability to replicate. His approach piqued the interest of the Vaccine Research Center at the NIH in Bethesda, and he began working there after graduating from Harvard in 2005. I am privileged to introduce you to Jonathan Abraham.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank my mother, father, and siblings for supporting me in my endeavors that have led me to where I am today. I would also like to personally thank Dr. Gary Nabel for nominating me for this award and the Minorities in Research Conference for providing me with this great opportunity. Since I've yet to accomplish a great deal in the world of science, I would like to briefly describe the path I seek to emulate as a future physician scientist. Dr. Nabel, who directs the NIH Vaccine Research Center, where I recently completed a one-year internship, is one of my biggest role models. He's put together a successful team of scientists, clinicians, and staff who, together, have made significant advances in the development of HIV vaccine candidates. I greatly admire the way Dr. Nabel has leveraged his knowledge to oversee the basic science research involved in clinical testing for vaccine development. By becoming a successful physician scientist like Dr. Nabel, I hope to one day use my training to help fight the spread of infectious diseases and diminish their undue burden on impoverished populations. My ultimate goal is to use cutting-edge science to help address some of the health issues faced by underserved communities here in the U.S. and across the globe. Once again, thank you for your help and support.
Recipient has always been fascinated by structures. In high school, that meant viewing structures as an art form and having an interest in architecture. As a mechanical engineering major at Mississippi State University, however, that meant an interest in how to build structures and what makes them fall down. She received her master's degree in materials science and engineering from Auburn University in 1999 and pursued her doctorate through coursework at the Georgia Institute of Technology and research at the University of Tennessee. In the decades since graduating from Mississippi State, she has specialized in the failure analysis of structural materials, particularly superalloy nickel-based metals at low operating temperatures. Her research has brought her to the attention of the energy and chemical industries, whose extensive piping suffers from corrosion and fatigue due to the nature of their business. After defending her thesis in August, she decided to continue her research at the operational level with the oil field giant Schlumberger, starting in November. Her life has not been singularly devoted to academics, however. She was a student recruiter and mentor at Mississippi State, a member of student government, president of the campus chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha, and a tutor for students in AutoCAD, calculus, and chemistry. As a graduate student, she worked in outreach programs for the Tennessee Lewis Stokes Alliance for Minority Participation, the Society of Women Engineers, and the National Society of Black Engineers. In addition, she serves food in a homeless ministry and is director of nursery, toddler, and preschool ministries at her church. Please welcome Regina Stewart.
I am extremely honored to have been chosen as a 2006 recipient of the Emerald Honors Student Leadership Award. Special thanks are extended to the Emerald Honors coordinators for recognizing the achievements of minority groups within the science and engineering communities. Moreover, I am grateful to God, my parents, Harry and Yvonne Stewart, my two aunts who are here with me tonight, are Tricia Matthews and Jackie Stewart, for their many prayers and support, and the majority vote of confidence granted to me by the selection committee. I am sure others could have accepted this award tonight, since there are many highly qualified candidates. For this reason, the Student Leadership Award is one of my most exciting and prized honors this year. Congratulations to all the winners, and let's continue to enjoy tonight's gala on our behalf. Again, I am extremely appreciative for this honor.
In order for there to be student leadership, there must first be educational leaders who make the studies of the sciences exciting for everyone. And I am honored to introduce the two recipients of the Emerald Honors Educational Leadership Award. Our first recipient has become one of the foremost experts in the development of systems used for testing integrated semiconductor circuits and microelectromechanical systems. It's his job to develop techniques to quickly discover if microchips work or do not work, since a manufacturer might produce 1 million chips a day. How important is that? Well, if you have the misfortune to be in an automobile accident, and you're dependent on the deployment of your airbag, you don't care about the millions of chips that are working in other cars. You just want to make sure that the chip that controls the deployment of your airbag is working properly. That's one role our recipient plays as Professor of Electrical and Computing Engineering at Carnegie Mellon University. He's also Associate Director of the university's Center for Silicon System Implementation, which focuses on the development of new types of integrated circuits as an alternative to simply making a circuit smaller or adding more transistors. It would seem those two responsibilities would fill his time. However, he also finds time to actively recruit minority students to come to Carnegie Mellon, and he organized the university's chapter of the National Society of Black Engineers. Please welcome Professor of Electrical and Computer Engineering at Carnegie Mellon, Dr. Ronald Sean Blanton.
Thank you so much for this award. I am truly humbled by this recognition. I must say, however, that our increasing success at Carnegie Mellon in recruiting and retaining minority PhD students is in no way due to my efforts alone. I truly believe any success I've personally experienced to this point and any future success is due to the special people that God has surrounded me with. These special people include my mom, our home educator, who brainwashed me into believing I was smart, and my dad, a firefighter for over 25 years, for teaching me self-discipline by example. My three wonderful kids, Shane, Aaron, Adrian, who constantly remind me of what is important in life. Hi, guys. And of course, my wonderful wife, Angela. Her steadfast support over the years is the sole reason that I stand before you today. Thank you, Angela. Finally, all the wonderful folks at Carnegie Mellon, especially Professor Fred Higgs, both friend and colleague, he has gotten me to think about what we do in a whole new way. Thank you all.
Our second recipient of the Emerald Honors Educational Leadership Award comes to us from Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory by way of the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Shortly after receiving his doctorate from Howard University, he joined a relatively young NRC and developed systems that improve security for nuclear resources throughout the country. In 1984, he became the NRC's first loaned executive, spending 4 years at Howard University applying technology to solving food shortage problems in countries in the African continent and other developing nations by ascertaining the nutritional properties of lesser-known plants. As the highest-ranking black scientist at the NRC, he persuaded the Department of Education and the NRC to work with historically black colleges and universities to strengthen their research opportunities and capabilities. That led to his forming the Science and Engineering Alliance between the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory and Alabama A&M, Prairie View, Southern, and Jackson State universities. In the ensuing 15 years, SEA has provided scholarships, summer jobs, and graduate appointments to hundreds of minority students interested in careers in high-level scientific research. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to present the Executive Director, SEA, the Science and Engineering Alliance at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, Dr. Robert Sheppard.
Let me first of all congratulate the other award winners for this outstanding award and opportunity tonight. A special thanks also to Thomas Smith and my colleagues at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory for nominating me for the Emerald Honors Award and the committee for making the selection. The Science and Engineering Alliance is a nonprofit educational consortium formed in 1990 by the 4 historically black colleges that you heard mentioned, along with Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. SEA was formed for the purpose of combining the technical capacity of the 4 schools so that we could enhance the technical capability of our institutions so that we could move forward in developing globally competitive American scientists and engineers. I'm truly humbled that I was selected and asked to serve as the founding executive director of SEA, asked to develop this organization and see if we could grow it into a major resource. Accomplishments are never achieved in isolation alone. And in my case, there are many who make up what I call the SEA story. The story starts with my late mother, who simply pointed the way, gave us the opportunity to reach for the stars and to recognize that God was at the center of it all. And also my father, who is here with me tonight, who showed me how to work hard and to stick to the task, and my brothers and sisters and niece, who's also here with me as well, who keeps me honest in terms of remembering what the true importance of our upbringing was all about, which was God, family, and friends. The story continued with teachers in a segregated school who believed that young people in that environment could excel as well. It also, those who are part of my network, like my friend Tom Poindexter, Hiawatha Fountain, who sometimes just listens to chatter, and my staff, Halima Dassa, Tanisha Gray, Eva Owens, they indeed are part of this story. And last but not least, to my wife of 37 years, Alzonia, for her steadfast support. And I want to thank you, Zone, for that. And our children and grandchildren for providing the inspiration and encouragement that always says is possible. Thanks to all, and I give God the glory for the journey and the SEA story.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our next presenter, the Vice President of National Sales at Aerotech, Joe McFoy.
Thank you. It's my privilege to present the Emerald Honors Lifetime Achievement Award and 2 President's Award. When our Lifetime Achievement Award recipient became the first black dean of the predominantly white University of Maryland School of Medicine in 1991, he found a troubling attitude. No, it wasn't what you might think. It was an inferiority complex. You see, they were constantly being compared to the neighboring Johns Hopkins Medical School, and in their minds, the comparison wasn't at all favorable. So the new dean ordered an assistant to apply for a federal grant as the primary researcher, even though the usual practice was to seek a subcontract from Johns Hopkins. That lack of confidence was one reason research grants only totaled $77 million that year. After winning that grant, he convinced the staff that the way to grow both financially and in stature within the medical community was to improve the level of primary research funding. His philosophy was, if they wanted any money from the dean's office, they had to get it from the National Institute of Health first. And get it they did, raising the level of research grants to $350 million last year. The increasing prestige of the school's research, particularly in vaccine development, AIDS, and schizophrenia, helped to boost philanthropic giving from a paltry $1.7 million in 1991 to $42 million last year. In addition to his day job, from which he has just retired, he is the past chair of the Association of American Medical Colleges, which represents the 125 accredited U.S. medical schools and 400 teaching hospitals. And he is the past chair of the Council of Deans of all U.S. allopathic medical schools. For a decade, he served as chairman of Maryland's Healthcare Commission. He also is a member of the Institute of Medicine of the National Academy of Sciences. Please welcome the Emerald Honors Lifetime Achievement recipient, Dr. Donald Wilson.
Good evening. It's somewhat embarrassing and humbling to be honored or to receive an award for doing your job. 2.3 weeks ago, I'm not really counting, but 2.3 weeks ago, I retired as Dean of the School of Medicine and Vice President for Medical Affairs at the University of Maryland. When I came to Maryland 15 years ago, I had a vision for the School of Medicine. That vision included improving medical education, enhancing the diversity and excellence of our faculty and students. And by the way, those two things go together. Expanding our research enterprise and expanding service to our community. It's amazing what has been accomplished in just 15 years. The University of Maryland School of Medicine now ranks in the top tier of medical schools in the nation. But as Nelson Mandela said, none of us acting alone can achieve success. It all began for me with two parents who instilled in me the importance of getting an education, respecting yourself, and demanding by your actions that others also respect you. That opened the door for all that was to come into my life. I have had the great fortune to be able to work with talented and dedicated colleagues, staff, and students. I was able to recruit a solid leadership team who shared my vision. At times, I felt like the conductor of a great symphony orchestra who had to figure out how to best mold enormous individual talent into an exciting and effective group. Many partners helped us succeed. When you add to all of that, the support and understanding of my devoted wife, Patricia, and all of my children, success was assured. I want to thank Delegate Shirley Nathan Pullian for nominating me for this award, and I want to thank all of you for recognizing me for just doing my job.
The first recipient of the Emerald Honors President's Award is certainly a believer that science is for everyone and not just a privileged few. He has devoted the past 25 years of his life to unraveling the intricacies of and finding solutions for some of the world's most intractable viruses. After receiving his medical training in Montreal at McGill University, he spent 2 years at Vanderbilt University as a fellow in infectious diseases, followed by 2 years at the Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta, Georgia, as a sleuth tracking disease vectors, especially those that cause sexually transmitted diseases. When HIV/AIDS came along, he went to Howard University College of Medicine and spent the next decade researching the disease and developing different medical and societal methods for dealing with its spread and treatment. He was often frustrated in the early days with the considerable denial that it was a problem affecting the African American community. It was seen as a gay, white disease, and it wasn't talked about. And while it was a taboo subject, the infections were being transmitted. It took a while before there was some culturally relevant and sensitive messages that would reach the Latin American and African American communities. Though criticized among some blacks, he persevered and developed AIDS outreach and treatment programs at Howard before going on to Schering-Plough's New Jersey Research Institute in 1997 seeking new drugs to treat the disease. In his capacity, he directs research in the company's facilities here and abroad and interacts with affiliated labs and medical centers around the world pursuing innovative treatments for HIV/AIDS. Please welcome the Senior Director of Clinical Research at Schering-Plough, Dr. Wayne Greaves.
It is an honor to be the recipient of the President's Award at this prestigious event. I would like to thank the organizers for hosting such an important and grand affair, the panel of judges for choosing me, Dr. Lisa Dunkel for nominating me, and Drs. Elaine Daniels and Tom Haverty for supporting the nomination, and Schering-Plough Research Institute for their enthusiastic endorsement. A very, very special thank you goes to my wife, Amaryl, and my two kids, Damon and Dana. They have served as a constant source of support and encouragement. It was back in 1981, as a visiting scientist at the Centers for Disease Control, that I first learned of a strange new disease that was killing healthy young men in New York, San Francisco, and Los Angeles.